Okay, I'm recording on my phone now. The video cut out. I was speaking about how I was always dragged out um, when I was growing up to try to attend these Jehovah's Witness establishments, but I always refused, and I never had any association with them, but they've always pursued me. And not just the Jehovah's Witnesses, but the Freemasons are associated with many different religions and clubs and whatever organizations. They have no rights to a sovereign being, and they know that. They know that. And they come to us. They do. We don't go chasing them down. We don't. I had to figure out it was them that were after me. I couldn't tell what it was. But I was enlightened nonetheless. I don't want to use the word enlightenment. Maybe I was made aware of. Yeah, I like that word better. So, anyways, I remember whenever I was a little girl, they would try to even send their teachers from their religion to come over to try to preach to me, to sit down with and preach their religion and all. But I would always run into the woods and hide. I didn't want to have anything to do with that wickedness. But eventually they left me alone. But now, whenever I was pregnant, my ex-family, Dina, that was my ex-sister, because I've never known them on the soul level, these individuals that I grew up with, because I never exactly sat at the dinner table with them and talked with them and said, how was your day? Because I've never actually sat at the dinner table with them. Can you believe that? Yes, I was usually outside. And they would kick me out outside, too, to sleep in the outside. Sometimes in the woods, sometimes who knows where. But I was persecuted by them. I was, on every level. So Dina is very vicious. She's my ex-older sister, Dina Blaylock Sukhanova. She keeps contacting me and contacting the caseworkers and who knows what for my case. And I keep ignoring her, but she keeps calling persistently. I'm beginning to think that the driver in that vessel called Dina is probably an evil spirit, because Dina, whenever I was over at her place after I got back from France, yes, I met my husband in France, and then I came back to the US. France was awful. I was chased out of France with a pitchfork by an evil demon. He said to never come back to France. I was staying in Sur-de-Roya in southern France, near Cannes. And they chased me out. They always like to chase me around, but eventually it got to that, to where I was staying up in the woods, straight up in the woods, and with pretty much the clothes on my back. And eventually they chased me out with a pitchfork and said, get out, get out. I would remember that I will never come back to France again. Never shall I come back to France. Well, at least not that old me. That old me won't be coming back to France. You'll be dealing with this new version of me right here. This one. And my foot. You will be dealing with that. Yeah. And then before that, I was staying in Orleans, and I remember it was Lucifer, the ugly one, that took me to the Joan of Arc Cathedral there. And as I was walking everywhere, I noticed he keeps mimicking my gestures. I put my hands behind my hands, and I keep walking straight up and just looking around. And I wasn't even paying attention to nothing but the paintings and everything else. But then I glanced at him, and he's mimicking my gestures again. I didn't know it was that Lucifer at the time, but yes, indeed, it was that character. And they put themselves into my reality each and every time, one way or another. That they do. Yes, they do. You don't know them like I do. You don't want to know them either. They stole my baby. I know it sounds very, very insane and crazy for those who are watching, but I'm gonna kick their asses one way or another. That I will. That I will. You don't know them like I do. I remember They're very sneaky. One hand of them wants to attack you while the other hand wants to defend you. One hand wants to give you a disease while the other hand wants to give you a vaccination. They're all so sneaky that way. They love to be your persecutor and savior all at the same time. Don't ever feed from their hands. They're dead cold, wicked hands. That's what I said when I was in jail for 4 days. I didn't eat anything there. I said I will not eat from their dead, cold hands. I didn't. I was starving and I lost a lot of weight, but I had many experiences where I went many days like that when they were persecuting me many times over, where I didn't eat anything. When I was staying in France, in Sardiroya, they chased me around in the forest there. Like, I think it's called Mystic Valley or whatever. But with dogs that knew my scent and all, not to arrest me or anything, but just to chase me around. Yes, they do that kind of stuff. The dogs had my scent and they had bells. They were following me around wherever I went. Imagine being chased by dogs. Imagine that. Oh, that happened to me. Oh, that happened to me. And helicopters too, but not to apprehend me or anything, just to scare me. Whoo, they do that. I'm always being hunted. I told you I have a predator. There's a lot of targeted individuals out there. And even Misha, my husband, my spouse, my companion, they even send all sorts of a energy weapon technology at him to cause him all sorts of horrible migraines. And it's he keeps telling me that every time there's a Wi-Fi or somebody's phone just turned off, or somebody's calling, it gives him he senses it right away and it gives him total migraines. So he can't be around that. But we're trying to escape. He's trying to escape his prison because his prison he's dying in with migraines and other issues. But we do really well in the nature together. We like it to be nomadic and camp out here and there. I'm about to put up my teepee here somewhere. I think I already found a good place to put it up for the winter time because I have to stay here until I get my son back. And more about France. What about France? What do you want to know about France? I feel like the world wants to know about France. I've been to France a handful of times. I did. But then I said I'll never go back to France after they chased me out with a pitchfork. And I was staying up in the mountains in Sardiroya. They'll chase me around. But that has happened to me many times where they'll just chase me in, they chase me out. And that's how I grew up. Dina being an ex-older sister. And she is an agent, definitely. They're associated with the Freemasons, the Jehovah's Witnesses. Just Google search it. They're wicked. I don't want to have any dealings with them. But now she's trying to be... She was trying to actually steal my baby before he was even born. She pretended like she didn't. They all knew I was pregnant. They sent me to live in the woods, and while I was pregnant and all, actually, after 1 month when I was pregnant, Misha left back to France, and then the borders just closed up, and I was living with Dina all the while, and I didn't want to be here, but the borders just sealed up, and I couldn't follow him out. They sealed us up. I thought they did. And Dina Blaylock Sukhanova. No, I don't make any associations with them no more. They degraded the family lineage. Took only one generation to pretty much degrade the family lineage with this religion and all. So she pretty much persecuted me since I was little too. I remember she would even try to abuse my cat and to make me they all chase me around, some more than others. They never even look at me in my eyes when they talk. They pretend like they're doing something with their hands or looking at the wall, but when they're having a conversation with me, their eye contact with me is always a few seconds. And I don't really have much contact with her. I never really did, but she's always trying to claim ownership over me. So when I arrived back from France, she's trying to address herself and say that she's our mother because our mother died and all, and she's like the older one or something, and she's trying to address herself. I am the mother now. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not my mother, I can assure you that. She's like a Hitler. She is like a Hitler. Her son was born on Halloween via cesarean section. And her son Lincoln, he hit me with a stick while I was pregnant, and he had the most evil, wicked look in his eyes. And he acted like it was all an accident because we were like walking through the trail in the woods. And they treated me really bad. They kicked me out to live in the tent in the woods out in Crossville, Tennessee. And it was really tough because the borders were sealed off and my Misha couldn't help me. And it was pretty much like I was all alone, and they engineered my situation to be like that. I can assure you that. That they did. So I was living like that, and after I gave birth, of course, we got some rentals going, like Airbnb here or there, like for the winter time. But now that we're traveling across the U.S., we want to go back to our native land because I don't want to be persecuted no more. And I've been chased around everywhere. Like, of course, the police chased me around while I was even pregnant. Dina called the police on me whenever she kicked me out to live in the tent in the woods. I came to get my stuff, and Dina called the police on me and made illegal threats against me and said that I had weapons that I didn't actually have, because the moment Dina told me to leave her place because Anya, my younger ex-sister, also a demon. Anya is a high-level pervert. She acts like a nun, but if you ever... The fact that I'm saying this already, they already know. I already tested how they know this is because it's all through technology. It's like a cell phone in their heads. They're not that psychic. And Anya, she will act like a nun, but she's very perverted. And she always acts like a victim just to get me kicked out of one place or another. She just accuses herself of being a victim in the situation, and somebody comes through and kicks me out, and there you have it. And Anya was doing that same scenario just to get me thrown out, because she was saying she was hearing stuff in her ears, like a white sound, and it was coming from my stuff, and they discovered some things that they don't like in my stuff. I don't care to, I'm not going to share with you what it is now, but even I don't mind to later on. And Dina proceeded to kick me out. They knew I was pregnant. Even Anya was staring at my stomach while I was not even showing. And they knew. So Dina started putting my stuff out by her trash can on purpose, like up by the road. Here, I'm putting your stuff out now. I arrived from France and I really needed help. I used to support Dina a lot. And Dina Hyena, I don't want her in my reality. I don't want her to steal my son either. For the Freemasons of the Jehovah's Witnesses that want some sort of a Freemasonic resurrection and all that. I don't know. They have some sort of tricks up their sleeves all the time for their own selfishness. But they're not going to get to that. They're not. The Creator is not stupid. The Creator knows that during times like this, like whenever it's going to get tough for Earth's children, because it's tough for me now, but imagine when it's going to be tough for everyone then. In America, like I was saying, there's going to be a great tribulation here. In a way, your faith is going to be tested. And even some of your babies might be taken, and you would be thinking, why? What's happening? And where are they? You would be separated too. So what's happening to me, I can assure you, will happen to others, because I realized that this is more of a test and challenge. And not that I'm asking for it. They are doing it illegally. They are. this was all premeditated. It was. Can you imagine one government just handing over your baby to another government while you're sitting in their premises over the border? That's pretty much human trafficking through the eyes of even their treaty under what human trafficking is. That happened to me. No one's helped me. No one's come here to help me. They've isolated me here, so now I have to sue them in federal court. And Dina put my stuff out. She called the police on me whenever I was pregnant, and the police she made false accusations saying that I have weapons, and so they had to search me. They had to pat me down. Of course, I was wearing barely nothing except a t-shirt and leggings, and they patted me down. And can you believe police touching your pregnant stomach? Yes, and they knew I was pregnant too, because I had to do some things with the court at that timeline when I was pregnant, and I had to go into the premises of a courthouse, and I could see that they looked at my stomach while I was pregnant, and I wasn't even showing. Or like random strangers that were just watching me, just observing my stomach. Why are you staring at my stomach? I was a skinny pregnant woman too. I didn't have the privilege to be fat. I was surviving up in the woods, and it was all by design. They're always trying to design survival situations for me. And then they wanted to also be there whenever I was giving birth. So first they wanted to chase me around, have me survive in the woods. And now they want to provide the hospitality of a place to give birth, which I gave birth in a house in a bathtub. I was alone for the most of the part, and I was pretty much, I caught my son with my own bare hands. I caught him. And I did cut his umbilical cord too. Misha wasn't able even to be there for his son. How awful. They separate us like that. And anyways, I didn't trust the midwifery. Let's just put it that way. They always implement themselves into my reality. They do. According to one video I wanted to review about this guy who was talking about evil spirits always inhabiting other vessels, and they broke into our reality in a non-materialistic form, in like an energy form, and they started to take on a vessel, preferably a human vessel. So you see a lot of different cultures that you had slavery and human breeding programs, like ancient Egypt, the Nazis. You have to pay attention, because they were not breeding out of love. They were breeding like a dinner menu and trying to make more bodies. So that is pretty much them doesn't. So any culture that's like that is them, because they might look on one identity in one race, or call it species of humans, and then like in a couple they will breed themselves bodies and take on a different species of humans. They have cloning. Lots of us know about that. They can take your DNA and now like grow like body parts, even bodies. Like I heard that in Reykjavik, Iceland, like they can take from stem cells and grow like body parts, like an ear, or like somebody who needs like a body part or an organ now. So this has been going on for a long time now, and it has to come to an end, like harvesting and taking on the vessels of others that don't belong to you. That vessel not yours. Doesn't belong to you. That vessel not yours. So they like to they're obsessed with who sits where in the body or in the car, and they like to arrange like the original occupant of the vessel to sit somewhere in the back, in the bagajnik, while the other occupants sit in the passenger seat, shotgun, or the driver's seat. So back to that video, it did talk about them occupying like different vessels or animals. They can do that. Yes, animals too. Dogs. They like domesticated animals, by the way. You notice how many animals domesticated. So whenever you're being pursued, you also need to know to stay away from animals too. They can actually spy on you through flies. Flies actually is one of their bioengineered insects. They bioengineered a lot of insects. A lot of spiders are bioengineered in laboratories because back in ancient Egypt they were creating all sorts of monsters and wickedness there. So saying that, my ex-sister keeps trying to contact me and probably trying to lay claims to my son yet again because for her religious purposes she's trying to turn me into her. She's always obsessed with converting me and being like an authority and figure that stands over my head and says conform. Like I can only imagine Dina, like imagine like the Nazi army marching. I can only imagine on all those Nazis the way they marched, like Dina's face on all of them, and she's marching and saying conform, 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 because she's a conformist. She's obsessed, and she will not be a part of heaven on earth. I can assure you that. Unless she like makes a U-turn right here, right now, right here, right now. But you know, certain ones are already long gone past their souls are in a place on a journey where they cannot come back to. They're already like attracted to a certain world. Like Dina likes them rock bands, like Three Doors from Hell or something like that it's called, or Dina likes all sorts of wicked stuff like that, but then she acts like she's righteous because when she was kicking me out and calling the police and the police patted me down on touching my pregnant stomach, she was saying right before she called the police, don't you want to be righteous like us? Don't you want to be righteous like me? Mind you, she just put my stuff by her trash can. Mind you, I used to like support her. Very good. She asked for money once and I helped pay off her car. But we didn't really have much of a relationship besides business because Dina always is all about business. She doesn't see the world anywhere else besides what use are you. And Dina views the world as a Roman Empire style where what position are you? Dina wants to play mother. So I want her to leave me alone because she's trying to lay claims to my son. I was warned about that by Vika, another sister of mine, younger. Now Vika, she had an interesting story. Vika and Dina never got along, but eventually Vika went homeless. And when I was in France, and when I came back, I only briefly saw her before me and Misha went away on our expedition across the country. Ooh. And I couldn't invite Vika along because it was me and Misha. Why should I invite her along? Vika wanted to come because she wanted to get away. She was pretty much homeless in the woods, and Dina didn't want to give her even a roof over her head. So Vika said that she saw like 7 demons standing over her, and Vika was all crazy. But eventually, Vika went into a mental house whenever she disappeared, and Dina couldn't offer a roof over her head. And Vika reemerged in Atlanta, Georgia, with blue hair and a shirt that she wore that said, a black shirt that she wore that said beast on it, #beast in red letters, like somebody scratching it. So, and here I'm giving Vika a ride, and whenever I was kicking her out, I remember she wore that shirt several times, and she had blue hair, and all of a sudden she's buying everything and spending money. The old Vika didn't do that, and this new Vika is like now has some black boyfriend. The old Vika would never have date something like that. So I'm assuming now that Vika's vessel, I don't know who's the driver in it, but I couldn't identify the old Vika in it after she reemerged and I found her in Atlanta while I was still pregnant. And this Vika was very selfish. It wasn't the old one at all. Something happened to her. So they're all compromised. I don't trust them. Them Sukhanovs. Sukhanovi. No, get away from me. I'm not one of them, by the way. So they, they're not my soul family. They can't look at me in the eyes. They've never looked at me in the eyes. They always turn away. They've always persecuted me, some more than others. Oh, that they did. So now I don't want anything to do with them. And I remember they made it really tough on me whenever I was pregnant. But eventually I pulled myself up and I wanted to go and be with my Misha in Russia. We want to create our reality there. Misha can't come here. And they're trying to seal my son further in their courts. So if I don't sue their asses in federal court, they know it's coming because I'm dealing with demons. They know that lawsuit is coming the moment it was on my mind. They know that kind of stuff because they linked technology with organic computers. What is an organic computer? Is your brain. Your brain is an organic computer. So they linked AI with organic intelligence. And pretty much they can control and stimulate your thought process and ideas and all that and thought forms, dreams. I think they call it Project Stargate. That's that psyche program that they were running in Virginia, I believe. They still run it. It's to like control the dream world, really. And it's all through satellites, communication systems and devices, and frequency. Like they're all technology based. The creator doesn't do that. They're trying to replicate his creation with technology because they cannot replicate it creation by how the creator created it out of the non-material world. It wasn't the material that created more material, now was it? So you see now, I'm always being pursued and all, and that's who has my son. How crazy is that? And me and that individual that I just told you, Satan, go way back through all these different bodies. Whenever I'm being pursued and running with my son somewhere, a snake always shows up. Like, how many times did that happen? Like, where they can't get to me in the, like, wilderness, and I have to be, like, walking on foot with my son somewhere? Like, I will see a snake. I'll just attack it now and be like, get away, get away. Well, I don't try to kill it. I don't try to kill it because, you know, you can't really kill Satan. You know that, right? You know you can't really just kill Satan now. Satan doesn't die that way. Satan will try to get you to kill it, even if it tries to get you to kill it and you go for it and it does happen. It will just take on a different vessel, and so it goes. Lucifer too, that one, the ugly ones. The ugly ones, that's what they are. I know they always try to shut me up, but I'm certain there's others that had their dealings with them, but they always try to pursue me. I know it's crazy and all, but if you probably watch more of my survival situation story, I would like to prepare her children for their tests and challenges that awaits them, because we will all be faced with them, no matter how deep of a bunker that you've made for yourself to hide in for this, and no matter how much you have of supplies, doesn't matter. It's really a test of your faith. It really is. And they try to control and humanity to where they don't feel their creator with their technology. They do that. We're down to very limiting of our emotions. And they even say we have like all this junk DNA. Well, guess what junk DNA is? Well, that's our emotions that we can experience for higher, feel a higher way of living through our feelings and emotions, because without it, we're just like Dina, the conformist Nazi that marches with her unit left foot right, and she marches trying to conform me, trying to steal my baby too. They all do. They all try to steal my baby. And they act like they're caring for me all of a sudden. They are like, oh, I care for you. I need to call her. But they really do not. They have their own agenda. That's only a theater performance that they put on, a facade. I've been treated that way by them time and time again. Satanists do that. So when Earth children are running from them, and you know your enemy, and you know it well, when they come to, when you know them and you see that they're trying to help you now, you'll really truly feel that they're genuine, that they'll give you, that feeling they'll give you. But you always have to counteract that feeling and know that you never eat from their dead hands. You never eat from their hands, their ice cold dead hands. Don't. Eat the grass instead. Yes, I've had that happen. I've had those survival situations happen. But America, it's gonna look like a giant refugee camp because United States has destabilized Earth's children in other parts of the world, and Earth's children now are enslaved to making things for 50 cents a day, and just to survive in like some most wretched of environments. They could easily just co-create their own little heavenly reality. Actually, they can, but instead they're working for who? For them here, and so it goes. So they can enjoy the luxuries here, and that's not a right economy to be in. That is a slave economy. This economy is based on slavery. A heaven on earth economy will not be based on slavery. It will be based on the quality of what you do. And you will do it for free too. Because why? Because whenever you're having to pay for things with money has no sense of awareness. It doesn't at all. They just print it out as much as they want. And you've seen how much they print during the what was it? The stimulus, right? They awarded everybody so much thousands of dollars during the COVID lockdown. I didn't get a check in the mail at all. I did not get a check in the mail. I did not, and I did not. But everyone else did from the IRS for $1,200. I don't know how many times, but yes, they're always about the numbers. But you see that money doesn't matter to them, and the economy is based on keeping up with the Joneses. You need to, what do you need to do? You need to work your way up the ladder. You need to compete in a rat race. You compete in a rat race for the cheese. Yes, you do. But normally you should just go inside a grocery store, a little market, get what you need. Don't be selfish, but I mean, if you want an extra chocolate cupcake, why not? Sure, but like if there's a limited amount, you gotta, consider the fact that somebody else might not get it. So if there's extra, why not? Go ahead. But only you should know the limits to your portions. Because I see that in the West here, as I walk through the grocery store, that all these Westerners, just because they get like a money or food stamps or whatever, they think they can get larger portions of food than others. That's not how nature does things. No, it does not. Nature doesn't. You need to know your portions. They don't know their portions here. They think heaven on earth economy where everything's for free. They're gonna open up as many storage units as possible to store all the stuff they want and need, and they're gonna just start hoarding more and more and more. This is where it's gonna head to if they're gonna have like a economy based on free giving, because they don't really know any skills here, like really skills. Maybe the Amish do. The Amish are very unique. When I was staying in Russellville, Kentucky, in a Airbnb there for the winter time, I remember when I first arrived, I saw like this Amish woman, and she was on her horse and buggy, and she rode past in the town center, and I'm on the phone with Misha, and my son Swarg is in the back seat, and and I stare at her, and she stares at me, and I'm like smiling, and she smiles right back, and I had the feeling that I don't mind living like that. I actually want to live like that. And me and Misha, we're very nomadic, actually. So I think this is a place where I can at least get my nomadic project going because Misha is always very concerned that the gas will run out, because someday it will come to that where there's no more gas. The earth is not going to be plundered mountain after mountain. You do realize that it has limiting resources. This is a hell on earth economy. Things need to be plundered, taken from the Mother Earth, put together in factories, sold. No, in a heaven on earth ecosystem. It's the best way I can describe it is magical. Or if you don't believe in that word and you find that word to be very ugly, you know what? Why don't we just say miracles? Because you will see it before your eyes, like food just growing to be for you to feed on. And you would wonder how it happens. But how it happens is the same way how Mother Earth came to be, how she was created. Vibration, sound from the non-materialistic world that is forever giving, forever prospering. Their entropic system can never be forever prospering. It needs, things need to be mined and taken from the earth and put together. So then you have technology. You don't have that miracle of creating something out of nothing. But it's not really out of nothing. It's really the energy creating it, the avatar behind it. Or it doesn't, not necessarily an avatar. It doesn't always have to be in a material form to create. They can't do that. So Earth's children will have to deal with a lot of persecution here, because it will come to everywhere. And here they're going to be dealing with more of a survival situation, and they'll realize their religion is nothing and their churches is nothing. Why? I want to tell you why. I don't want to just say that without telling them why. Because, and I'm not going to say to everyone, I don't want to judge everyone. I'm sorry if that's going to offend you, but guess what? Even if you do go to church, you realize there's other religions amongst you that are definitely wicked, right? Because they, like the Jehovah's Witnesses, are like a sleeping mercenary army that once their governing body wakes them up in New York City and says, now is Armageddon, now you march against these, now here's your weapons, now you go kill these. So that is kind of like an army. And they're preparing for that with them, I can assure you that. So you see, like I'm trying to say is, during these kind of times, some religions, they will come crashing down and they will feel it. And in that case, they will realize it was nothing. It never fed them. They always went to church. That church was always registered with what? A government that is enemies of the creator of Mother Earth. And Mother Earth, the very ass they squat upon. Yes, illegitimate. So they're going there where it's registered with the government, and to give praises to who? To the creator. He's not going to take their praises from there because it's registered with who? His enemies. So you see, they're going to realize that when their religions and churches come crashing down, they're going to realize that it's better to hold their ceremonies up in the mountains, maybe somewhere secluded, so nobody can't hear you, and it's better that way. And you probably get more of a replenishment on the spirit level. No, I shouldn't say level. You will get more of a replenishment. Yes, the creator will feed you. So I'm just saying this because when you go through them churches, they give money and all of that because the churches need to sustain themselves with what? With money. And they're always saying, well, before the creator arrives, we have to keep living with money, blah, blah, blah. They're making excuses for it. No, you can create heaven on earth, your own little village. Like, look at how the Amish live. I'm thinking, I don't know if they're registered with this and that, but I think they buy large plots of land, like 3,000 acres, and then they share it amongst many communities. Because when I was in Crossville, Tennessee, I was living up there in the mountains, and there's many Amish that lived throughout that region, and they would buy large plot of lands where they would share it amongst many families. So and I went to some of their places too. They always have like little stores, and they never take credit cards. So I remember going there out in the Falls Creek Falls in around Crossville. So they have a lot of communities there. And in that region of the U.S., they have a lot of Amish communities there. Kentucky. So I think the Amish are probably more, have more stability. They do. I mean, they're Earth children too. There's lots of Earth children. They come in lots of different religions. You know that, right? You know that. So, anyways, but some of their religions are wicked, and they actually worship the very enemy of the Creator, Mother Earth, and like Satan, Saturn, lots of Saturn cults. Yes, that one. They're always after me, but when you know who you're up against, you really realize they're just like an energy, right? They can wear they're all about acting in Hollywood. They can wear like a very tough, mean-looking old big man to scare me, like with one hand. Then they can wear a complete angel costume to scare me, to help welcome me and help me with the other hand, you know? I'm just being sane. Theoretically. So I'm going to finish this up to where I'm just saying that Earth children will suffer a lot. That is coming to many because this is where the economy is headed, and the economy cannot take much more plundering from Mother Earth. And now that a generation will come to have to face the economical problem that the other generations have created. So now this is it. This generation and the next will have to answer to all the mountains. And in that way, we'll have to rearrange and redo the economy altogether. And that will have to be based on not which is dead. You cannot have money to back up the economy, they say it's backed up by gold, but even if it's backed up by gold, let me tell you this: gold doesn't have arms and legs to get up in the morning. It doesn't have your willpower. So why shouldn't you be working even for gold? I mean, it doesn't even have your sense of awareness. You're going to be enslaved to gold now. I mean, if you're working for like something like that, then you're going to be a slave. And this is how humanity is still inferior. So a heaven on earth economy will be freeing humanity to where they're going to be, I would say, it will be based on more of a superior human civilizations, because they won't be, it will be on a global level. I feel so. But if you don't feel so, please comment. Please tell me how you feel. And how... To finish this up, this video is very long. I would like to do more survival videos on how Earth children might get out of tough situations, because maybe your babies might get stolen, or your loved ones might get taken, and then you might not have federal courts to put lawsuits in. I don't know. I want my baby back in my arms, and I want him now, but they're playing games with me in court each and every time. Now the next court hearing is for a permanent placement, and I hope to stop that, but they're always playing games with me. So if you're listening to this, please know my son is in their wicked hands. And I don't make this stuff up. He's in their darkest hands. Still is. But then again, do they really love being around my son so much? Does it please them? Yeah, I don't think they really like being around my son so much. They don't even like to be around me. But then they chase me anyway. But they wish... they're kind of sealed in here, and they're awaiting their day of reckoning, so they can finally be... get out of here, or they think they're getting out. I don't know what they think. I don't care what they think, honestly, because what's more important is the Creator's will. So another way I'd like to finish up is when you're being persecuted. I like to stay in mantra, and I like to say mantras. So I always usually say, Твое царство, Твое слава, Твое царство, Твоя воля, Твое царство, Твоя слава. So, it's important to stay in mantras to awaken your soul, to flare it up, because this survival situation, when you're faced, it can really put your soul on mute. But at least the natural elements do help me too. So thanks for watching. Hopefully next time I'll get my TP going, so I'll make a proper video.